There have been many bad quarterbacks in the NFL. There have also been a lot of bad quarterbacks that were drafted way too early. There was one quarterback that was drafted in a really bad QB draft class. Many teams were so desperate and needed a franchise signal caller. Back in 2013, the Buffalo Bills needed a quarterback, and unfortunately the QB class was not great like in 2012. In 2012, the QB class was stacked, but not in 2013. In 2012, there were guys like Andrew Luck, RG3, Ryan Tannehill, and Russell Wilson. However, in 2013, there were many quarterbacks that were not even projected to be selected in the first round. The QB prospects included Geno Smith from West Virginia, EJ Manuel from Florida State, Mike Glennon of NC State, and one quarterback that was getting a lot of hype weeks before the draft, Ryan Nassib of Syracuse. But Smith was projected to go in the first round and maybe in the top 10 to a team that was probably super desperate. But that didn't happen. First 10 picks came and went, and no quarterback was selected. The Jets had 2 first-round selections in the first 13 picks and did not take a quarterback, and went the opposite way by taking 2 defensive players. Although there was another team that needed a quarterback, and that was the Bills. They had the 16th pick, and many draft experts thought that there was a chance they could draft a signal caller. And with the 16th pick, the Bills drafted a QB, but it was not Geno Smith.
I think the dark horse here could be EJ Manuel. And what kind of surprise would that be if he was the first quarterback off the board? I love his upside and his arm.
With the 16th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select EJ Manuel, quarterback, Florida State.
The first Mayock. The first quarterback taken is not Geno Smith. It is not Matt Barkley. It's not even the quarterback that the current coach of the Buffalo Bills coached in college. It's EJ Manuel.
It was actually EJ Manuel. It shocked everyone, even Bills fans. Manuel was experienced and was 23 when drafted. Unlike most quarterbacks in the draft, Manuel had the most starts. Manuel led Florida State to an ACC title in his senior year and led them to a 12-record season for just the 3rd time in program history. They would go on to beat Northern Illinois in the Orange Bowl, and Manuel was named MVP of the game. Manuel started 2.5 years at Florida State and replaced another former first-round pick, Christian Ponder. That's another video for another day. The Bills wanted Manuel to start right away and become the face of the franchise, but that did not exactly happen. This is how bad EJ Manuel was. When the Bills drafted Manuel, it sent shockwaves to the football community. Manuel was not the name teams thought was going to be the first quarterback announced on draft day. In fact, he was the only quarterback selected in the first round. It was just the second time it had happened and the first time since 1996. When the Bills drafted Manuel, they had a lot of expectations for the Florida State product. But the Bills did not have a lot of great things going for them. They had just finished the 2012 season 6-10 and were hoping for a spark. They hadn't had a franchise quarterback since Jim Kelly in the 90s. They thought Ryan Fitzpatrick was the guy after a great 2011 season. However, he had a very disappointing 2012 season in which the Bills released him. So in 2013, the Bills thought they had their guy in EJ Manuel. Despite the Bills not having a lot going for them, they had some young pieces such as Mario Williams, Marcel Darius, and Jarius Byrd. But all of those players were on the defense, so Buffalo needed some offensive firepower. They had Stevie Johnson as well, but that would actually be his final season in Buffalo. Manuel ended up winning the job and became the Week 1 starter. His NFL career started pretty well, as he would have his first comeback win in Week 2 over the Panthers on a game-winning drive that was 80 yards. The Bills would win the first game of the season by edging the Panthers 24-23. But that was about all of his highlights from his rookie year. He had an up-and-down season in year number 1. The Bills finished the year 6-10 and last in the AFC East, which at the time was a pretty good division. Manuel finished the year with 1,972 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 9 INTs. He ended up spraining his ligament in his knee that caused him to miss 5 games. He went on to start 10 games in 2013 and was 4-6 on the year. Buffalo was pleased with his progress in his rookie year, but one thing that he struggled with was his accuracy. During his rookie season, he only completed 58% of his passes, and his QBR was not great, to say the least. He had a 38 QBR, which was the worst among starting quarterbacks in the NFL. The Bills were confident that he could improve in his second season, but that did not happen. In 2014, the year did not start very well. Despite having a solid preseason, Manuel was benched in favor of veteran Kyle Orton. Manuel threw a costly pick six versus the Texans. It ended up being the difference in their loss to Houston. He ended the season with 4 starts and went 2-2. He threw 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and had 838 passing yards. He had an abysmal 26 QBR, worst than his rookie season. That's not something you want to see in any quarterback, especially a first-round pick. To make it worse for Manuel, the Bills went on to have success with Orton and for the first time in 10 years had a winning record. They just missed out on the playoffs. After the season wrapped, the Bills front office started to wonder if Manuel was the right guy. Spoiler alert, he was not. In year number 3, it was make it or break it for Manuel. It was a busy offseason for Buffalo. After going 9-7 the year prior, which shocked a lot of experts, there were expectations for the Bills. However, Kyle Orton retired and head coach Doug Marrone resigned. The Bills brought in former Jets head coach Rex Ryan. The Bills decided that Manuel was probably not the guy, so they brought in Tyrod Taylor to compete with Manuel. They also spiced it up as well by acquiring veteran Matt Castle from the Vikings in a trade during the offseason. Manuel, Taylor, and Castle all competed for the starting job during training camp. Manuel struggled during camp and all of preseason. He did, however, play well in the 3rd preseason game, nearly completing all of his passes. In his first 2 seasons, Manuel struggled with accuracy, but despite the strong performance in his 3rd preseason game, Ryan announced that Taylor would be the starter and Castle the backup, which meant that despite being a first-round pick just 2 years prior, Manuel was the 3rd-string quarterback. Manuel ended up winning the backup job and would see his first action in Week 5 of the 2015 season. Tyrod Taylor suffered an MCL injury that caused him to miss a few weeks. Manuel would get his first start of the season. The FSU product would find success early as he would lead the Bills to an 80-yard drive on the first possession of the game. Despite the loss, Manuel played well, finishing with 263 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He would again get the start the very next week as the Bills traveled to London to play the Jags. He would struggle early and would commit 3 costly turnovers that would ultimately lose the game for the Bills. Funny enough, though, he would be the first quarterback in NFL history to lose in 3 countries, the US, Canada, and England. Unfortunately for Manuel, he would not see any more action that season, as the Bills would again miss the playoffs. In his final season, Buffalo decided not to pick up his 5th-year option, allowing him to become a free agent the next season. Taylor would again get the start for the Bills and would start 15 of the 16 games. With the Bills out of playoff contention, Manuel would start the final game of the year. It was unfortunately not good enough for the Bills to bring him back. In his 4 seasons with the Bills, Manuel would go 6-11, throw for 3,767 yards, 20 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 58% completion percentage, and would have an abysmal QBR of 35. After 4 seasons with the Bills, EJ Manuel would get a fresh new start. Just 4 years into his career, a former first-round pick was now a free agent. Manuel ended up finding a new home in Oakland. He would go on to be the backup for Derek Carr. It was a breath of fresh air for EJ Manuel after a rough 4 seasons in Buffalo. During his time with the Raiders, he started 1 game in relief of Carr, who suffered a back injury. In Week 4 of the 2017 season versus the Broncos, he went 11 of 17 for 106 yards and 1 interception. The next week, he would make his first start as a Raider, which would also be his last start in the NFL. In Week 5 of the 2017 season versus the Ravens, Manuel would complete 13 of his 26 passes. In addition, he would also throw for 159 yards and a touchdown, but they would fall to the Ravens 30-17. The next week, Carr would return and start for the remainder of the season. In the offseason, Manuel would end up re-signing with the Raiders. However, after the preseason, Manuel struggled, in which the Raiders decided to ultimately release the former first-round pick. Later in 2018, he tried for multiple teams, but with no avail. In February of 2019, Manuel would finally find a team as he would sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. The plan was for him to compete with Chad Henne for the backup QB position under Patrick Mahomes, who was just named MVP. However, Manuel shocked fans as he would announce his retirement just 3 months later. EJ Manuel's career will always be remembered as one of the biggest first-round quarterback busts in recent memory. He came into the league with high hopes, but never developed into the franchise quarterback the Bills desperately needed at the time. In 6 seasons, Manuel just started 18 games, threw only 20 touchdowns, and never found consistent footing as an NFL QB. The 2013 quarterback class was one of the worst ever, and Manuel became the unfortunate face of it. From a surprise first-round pick to an early retirement, EJ Manuel's NFL career was short, disappointing, and a painful reminder of how risky drafting quarterbacks can be. If you liked the video, don't forget to sub and like. Also, if you think I forgot anything, let me know in the comments. What did you think of EJ Manuel? Did you forget about him? I bet Bills fans didn't. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.
In the passing game. Chandler in motion. This is 3rd and 2. Texans coming into place. Manuel intercepted.